Bangladeshi tourists warmed up for their one-day series with England by beating a Middlesex side with a number of fringe players in it by 141 runs at Lord's, and these are the highlights. The Bangladeshis won the toss and batted in spite of being thrashed in their previous warm-up game by Sussex. Tamim Iqbal enjoyed his time at Lord's in the Test match and began in an encouraging mood for them at what must be his favourite ground by now. The tourists had 33 runs on the board going into the 6th over when Tamim tried to hit Robbie Williams into next week, but instead saw two of his stumps knocked out of the ground. He'd scored 28 out of that opening stand of 33, and his dismissal meant that others now had to try to push on themselves, including his opening partner Imrul Kayes. He was joined by Junaid Siddique, and they took the total to 50 by the end of the 7th over. Siddique then spooned a shot off Danny Evans to Toby Rowland-Jones at mid-on and was out for 10. Middlesex's youngsters had made an impressive start, but the attack was then put to the sword a little by Imrul and Jahurul Islam. Imrul struck the first 6 of the innings, but it was the form of Islam which really impressed. He raced to a half-century off only 42 balls to put his side in control. Imrul also went to his 50 with his second maximum, but his had taken him 67 deliveries, and these days that's seen as being a little slow. He was by now though hitting out, and he dispatched Tom Smith for his third 6 as he moved on to 77. A century looked on the cards until he miscued another big hit off Rowland-Jones and was caught by Smith, but only after sharing in a partnership of 143 in 25 overs. The Bangladeshis were now well placed on 193 for 3, but 29 runs later they lost Islam for an excellent 88. He was caught in front of the pavilion by Rowland-Jones off Smith. In the desperate chase for runs towards the end of the innings, other wickets followed. Shakib Al-Hassan, who will soon be joining Worcestershire as their overseas player, carted Evans out to Owais Shah and went for 38. And after Mushfiqur Rahim kept the board ticking over in the batting power play, he departed for 25 as Evans picked up his third wicket. Josh Davey, the man on the boundary's edge this time. At times, those boundaries were appearing to be just too big for the Bangladeshis as Faisal Hussain also perished in the deep. But Masrafa Murtaza had no problem in clearing the ropes at the death. He hit 2 maximums, taking the total for the innings to 5 as he helped his side past 300 in the final over. They will have been delighted to have posted 301 off their 50 overs after being dismissed for just 104 by Sussex, and it set a target of just over 6 runs per over for Middlesex to win. Murtaza, who is captaining his country in the one-dayers, then started well with the ball as John Simpson played him on in the first over as he went on the pull. Even before that wicket, the target was going to be a very big ask given the inexperience of this Middlesex lineup. Jackson Thompson is just starting out his Middlesex career, although he did have Owais Shah at the other end. Thompson made only 8 before he charged at Shafiul Islam and miscued to mid-on. Shah and Dawid Malan then provided something of a platform as they added 87 for the third wicket in 17 overs. But just when things appeared to be going their way, Malan was run out after being sent back by Shah, whose initial movement looked like he was after a quick single. Malan made 32 and was out at 99 for 3 in the 21st over. Shah had to put that run out behind him, and he did so by completing his 50, made of 62 balls. He was then dropped on 57 before he was legged before to Shakib when sweeping 2 deliveries later at 114 for 4, and that started a collapse. Tom Scolles's first innings for Middlesex ended when he was legged before going for a big swing to leg after making only 3. Neil Dexter then drove Abdur-Razak to mid-on and departed for 8 as Middlesex now found themselves on 134 for 6. The game was by now over as a contest, but Tom Smith tried to keep the fire burning for a while, but the wickets kept on falling. Josh Davey was another to be given out leg before to Shafiul Islam. Rowland-Jones swung and missed at a ball from Murtaza. Smith thrashed a delivery from Islam to Murtaza in the deep and was out for 11. And the innings was over when Evans gave Mamadullah his second run out of the match. Middlesex had subsided to 160 all out in only the 40th over. 63 balls remained unused. It was a thrashing admittedly, but the experience for some of the younger players is one that they won't forget, even though the margin of defeat was a large 141 runs. The Bangladeshis will have tougher days ahead.